Morning folks. So this week's video is a bit of a solo effort. That's just because myself and Simon couldn't make our calendars match up this week. So we're not featuring any men with southern accents today. Now that's not to say that Simon won't be coming up to the park and doing some work a couple of days after me. As I say, we just slightly misaligned our calendars. So you may not be familiar with the idea that Simon actually runs the social media for Route Down events, so that's Instagram and Facebook. He might be putting something else up later on. I don't know at this point. Anyway, the point being is that I do have a very specific job to do today that will then allow me to get some more jobs done tomorrow. So let's go take a look at that. Today's main goal is pretty straightforward in principle. Essentially, we have this feature here. We've got a kick over what's essentially a camel hump, but a quasi gap, if you so please, that goes into a berm, and it's supposed to go into another berm over there. What we currently have is a berm here that you land into the berm, and what you need to do is then kick out of that into another berm. The issue is there's no berm there, so that's what I'm here today to do. Phase one is what I like to call the clear out. So essentially it's just pulling out all this pile of loam and clearing out of the area that you want to use. Now this loam stuff, there's a lot of it, and there's probably, wherever you're building, is a lot more than you originally thought there was, but it's soft, it's semi-decomposed, and it's not your friend when it comes to trail building. So it's best just to clear as much of it out off the where you want to build as you can. It's just, to be honest, the easiest tool for doing that is nothing special. It's just a cheapo straightforward garden rake. And then phase two is define your boundaries. This is just the way that I like to do it. It's not the way that everybody is going to build. So I'm a bit old school and I like to use log layups in my building. So the first boundary, the outside edge, is pretty much there. All I want to do now is define the inside edge where I'm going to pull from and lay up onto. The best tool for that is a mattock. Once you've defined an outside edge for your berm, I'm afraid there really is no kind of magic formula or top tip I can give you, because it really is just a case of moving everything from that line out towards your berm and getting in and shaping it so that eventually you get a berm shape. Can be a bit labour intensive, especially if you're doing it with hand tools and doing it on your own. Obviously the easiest thing is to park a digger over there, reach a bucket in and drag, and then pat down with the outside with the flat side of the bucket. That's probably the most common way that you'll see berms built. It's probably the quickest way, but obviously when you're doing a hand built track, then it does all just basically need to be shifted over and shaped through. So instead of procrastinating and putting the job off, I'm just going to have to crack on. This one was built with wet dirt on a rainy day, so it needs a little bit more shaping. It's alright, you know, it's obviously it's not quite done yet, but it's pretty close. And spin you around and into this one I've just done now with some slightly drier dirt. And yeah, it's a lot of work and it takes ages to move it all up, but it's definitely going to do the trick. If I step you back a little bit, obviously over there you've got the camel humps. You'll either roll through them or gap over into the landing round this berm, and it's a case of popping out of that round the other and popping out again. So yeah, I mean it's gone okay. Pretty pleased with how it's working. Obviously want to do the final shaping on everything, but this one kind of just needs a bit of rain on it now, and then we can start to get some tyres through it and start practicing it, and well, not practicing it, start testing it, seeing how it's rolling. But the whole line is kind of working, I think. You can see how the S turns are going in. and you will ultimately be shooting down through between these. So we're here again. It's 5 to 9 on a new day, and I think the only thing that I've got to concern myself with today is not what to do. I mean, there's 20 different jobs, pick one and go at it. It's which one to do next. So might have to have a little bit of a nosy around at first and double check and just make sure that we're tackling things in the right order. Anyway, first job, let's get up there. We're up here at the top. Excuse me for any wind noise that's coming through. It's a pretty blustery day. So this is going to be like a, for want of a better phrase, like a chill out area. By the time you kind of got yourself up to the top here, we've got the first of what's going to be a couple of benches up on here. And today's task is I've got a log lay up for a rolling gate, a start area. Now eventually this is going to have a bit of a structure over the top of it and have an official start area, but we don't need to worry about that until we do our first race day. For now, what we're looking for is just to get this kind of roll out gate log lay up. We're looking to get that covered in dirt, so bit of a boring job. It's windy, it's started to rain. It is literally just digging a hole and shifting dirt onto here, but it needs to be done, and today's as good a day as any to do it. The sun's actually come back out for a minute, so I can get the camera out again. Let's have a little look at where we are. So probably, I don't know, about 35–40% of the way through. I've just had to get some dirt in here, start to get some dirt into the ramp that will ultimately take you off down through there and snake around and bend. But it's getting that first layer of dirt on is kind of one of the most important parts. But it's not, I mean, it's not a glamorous task. You're not going to be able to do a jump. I mean, I suppose you could manual down it, but it's not a feature. So like rewarding wise, as oh, if I build this I'll be able to ride it afterwards, it's not really that kind of a thing. It's just we need a designated start area for the top of this track. It's not like the other tracks where you can just, you know, the free ride, you just drop in from wherever you fancy. This one is going to have a race line. As I say, I want to get some kind of a structure up around it. That doesn't need to happen right now, but what does need to happen now is this platform goes in. So yeah, it's a bit boring to be honest with you. But hey, it needs to be done. Right, well that's the dirt work sorted on the start ramp. There's still some timber work to do. What I want to have is on this left hand side is a bit of a handrail, so to speak, for you to lean your bars up against, so that when you get counting down and getting ready to go, you can go from a standing on the pedals position. I'd like to put something up around here, perhaps make a little bit of a shelter for the starter and the timer to sit. That'll be either me or Simon if it is a little bit drizzly. It'd be nice to be able to sit under a shelter, but you'll end up spending some time on the top of here, and then it'll be down this ramp and off down into the track. Now really, I think apart from there's a little bit of stuff maybe about 200–300 yards down from here that needs to be sorted out, but we're getting quite close to the time of just raking all this through now and getting the track pretty much. It's quite exciting really. I'm kind of close to having this one ready to ride from top to bottom and test it out, so that might be the next thing. Oh no, do you know, I've got to rake it through. So next job is to rake it through and get it ready, and then we can start and do some testing from top to bottom before we open and get you guys on riding it. Anyway, I'm tired. It's been a lot of dirt work today, and I'm hungry, so I'm going to go and have some tea. Catch you in a bit, folks. Ta-ra.